And thank you, Madhu, for being here today. It's really good to have you, and I will pass it on to you.
All right, thank you. Let me share my screen and
Perfect, please do.
tell me if you can see it. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Should be seeing a presentation now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get started. Everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time horizons. I'm Madhu Chavva. I am very happy and excited to be here today talking about how AI is shifting our day to day applications towards something that's smarter and more personalized. And also, learn about why this is such an important time to, jump on board and shift towards AI. Today's discussion is all about exploring how AI transitions from just an idea to something that is really impacting us, all while having the fun and learning something new. So let's get started. Um, so here is a little bit of an intro as to why I am like giving this talk, like how qualified I am to give this talk and all that. So to put it simply, I am an engineer who loves to solve problems, and that kept me going from like an engineer or an intern who got recruited straight off the college to a principal architect and a co-founder of an AI based company. So my first program that I did was to code for a VLSI program for a small science project that we did for the chip designing in optical fiber communications. So since then I loved programming, and now I have about like 17 years of experience spanning across various industries such as fintech, communications, and education. As of now, I play different roles such as like researcher, mentor, and technology advisor to keep it exciting for me, and make sure that I learn something new in every new project or an aspect that I pick up. Well, that's about me. Let's dive right into the topic. So let's understand why AI is everywhere, and like everyone is talking about the personalizing their applications and their interactions. So why is it needed? So we live in an age where like mass production and the generic service implementation simply just doesn't cut it anymore. So everyone wants something of their own, and that is uniquely tailored to them. So imagine trying to sell a vacation package to someone who is like more adventurous, and someone who likes mountains, and someone who's all about beaches, cocktails, and all about spa days. It just doesn't work. So and the people, when we start providing those generic service implementations to everyone, people start hating those apps that are pushing these irrelevant things that they do not need. So here is where AI helps us recognize these nuances, preferences, and customizes these experiences, especially for each and everyone based on their interests. So let's take a look at various personalized experiences that we have been using from several years now, which has become a part of our lives and which has become a norm. Traditionally, AI has been an area of research from a very, very long time. It was primarily used for specific tasks like image recognition, predictive analysis, and automation. For example, earlier back in those days, Google used AI for improved search and translation services, and Meta uses AI for identifying harmful content and filtering those abusive contents off of that social media platforms. Amazon and Netflix uses AI's predictive analysis and recommendation engines to curate personalized items and personalized experiences for their platforms. But during those earlier days, like in way in back like 2010 or something like that, these implementations were like very, very resource intensive. It required a lot of computational power and efforts, making it very, very restrictive and inaccessible to everyone. But now there's been a lot of development in this particular space, that we have so many out of box tools, and that can be like simply integrated into your applications, like a plug and play sort of a model that enables your applications to be powered by AI. We have so many open source models that are pre-trained, and so many libraries that are designed specifically for a specific tasks or various modern use cases, making them highly accessible for most of the startups, and as well as apply it across various industries. This development in this particular space has empowered smaller organizations as well as smaller startups adapt AI at a very, very early stages and develop AI powered applications. um, I would like you to take a specific examples as to like how we are leveraging AI in the education space, which is one another area wherein like we are working at this particular point of time. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to run all these animations for you. I'm so sorry. So these are like the different open source models that I was talking about that are available out there, which is ready to be plugged into your applications, that using which your startup applications or solutions can be powered by AI. Moving on, the let's look at how the AI is creating the personalized experiences within the education space. As a principal architect at an edtech company, we use AI and ML practices to reshape some of these additional practices that are a part of the education system. It is helping us create interactive and intelligent tools to tailor personalized experiences for each and every student in a class based on their comprehension levels and their specific needs. On a broader level, there are like three categories of tools that using which this personalized education experiences can be offered. The first category, the adaptive learning platforms. These platforms contextualize data driven insights, such as like the comprehension levels of the students, their performances, their usage analytics, etc., etc. These data driven insights are considered to make adjustments to the curriculum and the educational content that a student is consuming based on their pace, performance and comprehension levels, and as well as the manual observations that are given by the teachers. The second category of the systems, which are nothing but the intelligent tutoring systems, are the ones that provide real-time interactive experience, offering guidance at every step of the way that a student is going through the course. They help with problem solving, providing customized instructions to help students master a specific skill or a concept. These systems assist students navigate through the educational content they are assigned with the data driven precision based on the intelligence that it gathers from the analytics that we just talked about. Now, the third system, the intelligent content creation and the assessment tools, these are like there is like a vast majority or like the wide variety of the systems that are available within this particular category. They range from the tools that are focused on customizing the educational content based on the latest innovations, scientific developments, or trends, to a few mm, modernizations or customizations that curate this educational content based on the cultural and heritage backgrounds of the students and their demographics. Now, once the intelligent content creation tools are actually curating these educational contents and components, and that are offered to the students, there comes this assessment tools, because this the content that is offered to the students are like highly customizable and curated based on the students' performances and their backgrounds. The assessment tools also have to be aware of what content was presented to the students, and these assessment tools constantly evaluate the students throughout the duration of the course, and they generate dynamic quizzes and assessments based on their levels of understanding, and also also the pace at which these students are moving in a particular course. If it is like a 3 module or a 4 module course, there is a pace level that is defined for like a high performer versus a medium performer versus a low performer. Based on their comprehension levels as well as their performances, these pays and these quizzes will be adjusted accordingly by these assessment tools. So we have been talking about, like, different categories of the systems that are providing these personalized experiences within the education space. But what does that mean for the students? Are they really helping? So we conducted a lot of tests and gathered the feedback from like multiple terms. We The district terms that we call it, the student terms. We gathered the feedback from multiple students and multiple districts, and we learned that they are more engaged now due to this personalized and interactive experience. To put it simply, they are not bored in classrooms anymore. This is what we learned, and that these adaptive learning systems are helping students um, stay focused and not get overwhelmed by the complexity of the course, or lose interest if it is too easy. Now similarly, these AI driven tools can also help identify the learning gaps, like at a very very early stages. Meaning that if a student is struggling with a particular concept or a particular skill, the system can provide additional context and resources to help them keep up to the pace. Now, now the other side of the coin, like, sure, it is absolutely helping the students in picking up the pace and going along with the course modules, and also adjusting the assessments complexities based on the students comprehension levels. But how is it helping the teachers, right? So teachers now need not wait until the final assessment results are out, but rather look at these data driven insights that are captured by these systems, and create these focus groups that are driven by these actionable insights and recommendations offered by these intelligent systems that we talked about. So this is how it is not just reducing the work on the teachers to that requires them to manage the classes and adjust the pace of the course modules and all that, but it is helping them, giving that free time that is necessary for them to create more and more interactive and creative solutions, and be there for the students who require a little bit of offline assistance. So let's shift the gears and try to understand how AI is helping how AI is helping optimizing the cloud management and simplifying the cloud deployment and everything. So the reason why I have shifted from the use case wherein like the AI has been helping in the education space to the AI to now to the cloud, we will learn more as to like how this AI is transforming each and every industry, not just one specific task. That's the flavor of the material that I wanted to present at this point of time, to help you understand the vast variety of applications, AI applications, in all sorts of possible solutions. Now, this cloud architecture design, or simplifying the cloud management system, is one of my favorite projects. It's actually the startup that we are as of now working on in making these managing cloud services as easy as it is talking, just like talking to a friend. In most of the in today's world, most of the companies have made a lot of progress in automating their DevOps and as well as cloud deployment processes. And there are like a lot of health monitoring tools for your applications and systems that are available, which are leveraging AI in some or the other form in providing timely insights and alerts, in making sure that that a particular application the system's health is actually, is all green and nothing going wrong and red over there. But the biggest complex piece of cloud management is coming up with the right architecture, designing a foolproof cloud architecture that will set your application run for, some time without any application, without any problems. The reason why I say sometime is like we are not doing the designs for years anymore, because of the advancements in the requirements and the dynamism in the way that the applications are changing. Once the cloud architecture is designed and is running for a few months, if it is cost efficient, if it is not burning your resources, it is good enough for your application to run for certain time, it is good. Now there are more to it when the scaling comes, and as your business grows, the scaling pieces of it and the automated, resource intensive operations that are necessary to be performed to increase the traffic to whatever, or to increase the support to accommodate the increased traffic that your startup is having, or that your business is having. This particular management is, it gets more and more complicated as you progress into that particular direction. And once that particular right design is identified, implementing them, finding any issues or fixing them without breaking anything else, are still completely manual in most of the use cases and are very, very stressful for the cloud engineers. At Cloudpack, which is the startup that we are actually working on right now, we are aiming to solve these problems and use an LLM that is trained in managing these tasks efficiently. There are two specific tools that we offer today, to the cloud engineers, that are helping them in managing these tasks efficiently with respect to the cloud management. One is the CP.ai, which is an LLM that lets the engineers interact in the natural language and assist them in, like, with any questions or in any coding that is required for you to develop a template. Let's say if you want to develop a Terraform template and you have a question about like how to use a specific syntax, or how to use a specific module or any of that sort, or you want to do Jenkins DSL or any of that sort, this particular LLM tool will help you, or will help engineers interact with the natural language. They need not learn about all these tech jargons or these words, but rather just interact within a natural language and assist them in their coding tasks, in their design tasks and everything. Now the other tool, the CPCLI, is a command line tool which acts as a co-pilot. This co-pilot understands the cloud space that the customer is in and helps an engineer interact with the specific cloud provider. For example, let's take AWS for example. Think about, imagine something like, saying spin up a new EC2 instance, or set up an S3 bucket for interacting, or for an ETL job, or optimize my costs for to reduce the churn on the EC2 instances. You could say something like that, and these tools just get it done without the engineers having to know anything about how to use the AWS commands, how to utilize the AWS resources, or how the complex topology or the system interactions that happen behind the scenes that wire up these particular systems. Now, moving on, this is another example or a use case that I want to bring it to you, from fintech, invoice processing. Bear with me. This is the last example that I wanted to share with you all to explain how deeper AI has gotten into, all our applications that we are using and our day-to-day activities. So talking about, fintech and invoice processing, small businesses, or even the medium scale businesses, they deal with a lot of vendors and contractors, and they get invoices from those contractors and vendors that have to be paid on a timely manner. So what are the activities that needs to be done to get that particular task done? First you'll have to get a paper invoice, and then you need to fill in all those details in the system, and then verify to make sure that all those details and the charges are accurate, and then make a payment before the due date. And all of that, someone has to remember it without missing those dates, and has to be done on the date. Now, this complete workflow can be automated with the AI processes and the ML practices. So, how is it automated? Is just by uploading the picture of an invoice. An AI image processor reads this invoice, understands it, and feeds the data into the system. This AI process also verifies if the vendor that has submitted this particular invoice is someone who is regularly the business works with, and the invoice is legit or not, or the transactions look something normal or similar to the ones that the business's expenses generally look like. So these are like the different various checks that are verified before processing a particular invoice and before it does the payment. Now, what happened exactly in this particular workflow? Here, the AI just not only automated this manual process, but it also understood the customer's needs and understood the vendors and the contracts that the customer interacts with, and also the types and variations in the transactions that happen, as in like how much they spend and what frequency, and like um, uh, the nature of the transactions, etc., etc. So it is personalized to the customers businesses as well as how they operate it. So once it is done, once it is personalized and everything is done, the AI process can also initiate the automated payment as well, and make sure that it is done. So these are all the different use cases that that are optimized and personalized and automated using the processes of AI and ML practices. So we all have been like looking at like different examples of how AI has been personalizing and how it is becoming an integral part of every industry. We looked at how it is personalizing experiences in education, how it is personalizing experiences, and how it is simplifying the tasks in cloud management, and now like the fintech, but every industry. But why? Like, why more and more of these companies are moving towards this? Is it just about staying on top of the current trends? Let's take a moment to understand why this shift is necessary. So, as the technology evolves, AI and ML are creating more and more optimized ways to efficiently process and execute some of these operations. And with the recent layoffs and job consolidation, many industries are actually looking for ways to future proof their operations and reduce operational costs and everything. So this AI and ML practices are actually creating opportunities to to automate these routine tasks and enhance efficiencies with and also focus human efforts that are needed for really human, where the scenarios where the human interventions are absolutely required. That's like more strategic and more creative work. So in a nutshell, these AI and ML practices are actually freeing humans from performing this mundane and recurring routine tasks. So this shift of going towards or adapting these AI and ML practices is not just about staying up to date with the current practices. It is about seizing these new opportunities that are emerging within this new technologies and new technological space, and building resilience and building applications that are driving the future of the work, and that are creating more and more meaningful experiences for the users. So we talked about how this is like, as in like how AI is improvising the experiences and why the shift is necessary, but how do we do it, right? So let's look into a few use cases as to like how we can adopt this. So sorry for someone who is not part of, or who is like very very new to this AI and ML spaces, it just gets really overwhelming in the beginning. AI and ML as the buzzwords or as the tech jargons, they are not really something that's magical, that are dedicated for, data scientists who have done like PhDs in it. It's not just for them. AI is like this particular space is like very, very huge and has got a lot of opportunities that everybody can take a piece of it. Now, if you if you start looking at it in a way that, if me as a person, when I started my journey, I was not, I did not start my work right into the AI or ML space. I started my journey into the professional development as someone who would do the full stack development and the backend development using the traditional programming languages. But started transitioning into the AI and ML spaces by learning these concepts at my free time. And I started playing around with these tools and projects, and that's how I got intrigued into it. And it's, to be honest, it's not easy to get started, but there are ways for you to get accustomed and understand the concepts with the online courses that are abundant in nature. When we talk about online courses and boot camps and all that, like what sort of courses that, all of us have this confusion, like what sort of courses should we even to get started with. Let's take an example. Like, if you want to drive a car, you would go to a driving instructor and ask him to teach how to drive a car, but rather you would not just open the bonnet and try to understand the engine behind it and how it is wired and all that, right? So similarly, we focus on finding the online courses that are more focused on, and that teach you the real time use cases and the applications of these AI and ML practices, and the libraries and the open sources that are related to it. It's just not about, it's, do not get boggled or puzzled about how these ML practices are implemented. What are the fundamentals and the mathematical equations behind it that are really making them empower it? Once you get the hang of how these procedures are implemented or how these procedures are executed, then probably, if you are like very interested in it, then you can dive deeper into understand the mathematical procedures and the concepts, the fundamental concepts behind it. But to begin with, I would suggest picking up those online courses that are focused on giving you the real time experiences of applying these ML practices and libraries into the traditional spaces such as that education, fintech, or any other domain that you have got. And once you go through those online courses, you attend the boot camps and conferences to make sure that you listen to the latest trends and listen to some of those legendaries and experienced people talk about their experiences and all that. And it's just not about listening and reading and all that, but until unless you get your hands dirty, you would not actually see the depth of a particular concept or a library or a framework. So try online editors like Google Colab. And you know getting your hands dirty need not be that you have to be like a full-time coder, or like you have to be like complete tech savvy to get into that. There are like places like Google collab that will give you a standard templates for you to achieve a specific task. Let's say if you want to use if you want to develop an ML specific task that will identify an object. Say for example, if you want to identify the pictures that are name the pictures that are having the cars, then you can pick up the template that is specific to the image recognition models that are pre-trained and that are open source, that are available within that particular template. Once you pick on the template, you can start making those changes and adjust according to your experimentation. And last but not the least, just do not stop. Do not get overwhelmed. Never be overwhelmed, and do not think that you are alone in this particular journey. All of us started at like very, very bottom of the page, and then slowly, climbing up each and every step, one step at a time. And then see the magic that you would do after like a few months, like 2 to 3 months. See the magic that you could do. Now, there is this thing that you could ask me, like, these online courses, boot camps and conferences, these are like pretty generic. What is so special about these courses that are specific to women? uh, I do have, being especially moving, as someone who is like a great supporter and an advocate of women into education, women into coding and all that. These are all the different, or like top five communities, as well as groups that are specific to offering boot camps as well as the courses for women especially, and also offer some of these grants as well as the scholarships for you to complete the courses. Once you complete the courses, they'll offer you certain scholarships and grants for you to experiment with certain projects that you are intended to do. For example, Google Women Tech Makers, they run, you take generative AI, or you take predictive analysis, or you take recommendations, whichever is the small niche that you pick within AI. Google Women Tech Makers have a special tracks within these particular niches that you pick, and they have trainings as well as the conferences that are available for every week that you can attend for free. And once you do that, they are also offering these courses that are specific for women to gather up and talk about the challenges that they are running into, how they are perceiving that particular course, if it requires any changes, etc., etc. As a member of the Google Women Tech Makers, I am happy to share more details on the programs that we are running as part of these particular niches, if somebody needs more links and additional resources with respect to this. Rewriting the code is another such kind of a platform that is dedicated for women to offer mentorship, support, and as well as fellowships. For example, as in like, there are certain people who are you know who are leading in this particular industry, or offering cohorts, welcoming these young women as well as women of all expertise and all experiences join their cohorts and attend some of these AI related courses and address their concerns and questions. So these are all the places that are dedicated for bringing in more and more women into this AI and ML spaces. Now, now that we looked at different resources and the course materials that are available for us to shift into the AI, there is one thing that I wanted to say, is that uh, all of us are more experienced and have about like decades on decades of experiences in certain industries, and I get it. It's just not easy to move into, or shift into a new space or new technology altogether. And in a once we are into a particular career, we all have those ups and downs, and transitioning into a new technology or a new space is always overwhelming. These are the five my go-to steps that I have curated, or when I say curated, for myself, because even I, like I mentioned, I was not someone who directly started into this AI space. I transitioned myself into this AI space, and before I transitioned into this particular space, I had gone through several challenges. And to overcome those challenges, these are the steps that I followed to build confidence, personal brand, and also build resilience. So I'll give you a bit of a glimpse as to like what these steps are and how it helped me be where I'm at right now. So the first and foremost important step is building self-awareness. What is building self-awareness? It's like it is about taking time to reflect on what you do, like what your daily experiences are, what your the projects that you're working on, and your daily interactions were. So my mantra was like, put everything in writing. I used to write what went well, what did not, and what I could learn from each and every situation. Eventually this practice become like a second nature to me, like to help me identify the patterns in my behavior and my thought process, to to make me aware that these are the things that I enjoy, these are the things that I need to develop, or make adjustments to, or make more learnings to make a better version of myself. Now that I have identified a pattern, and the situations and everything, that how I have been dealing with different situations and all that, I realized I needed help. It's not that I realized that I wouldn't be able to do all by myself. By looking at critically identifying the gaps, and also identifying how do I, or how can I improve on some of the gaps that I identified and whatnot. So what I did was that I, s- I sought out the help of an EQ coach, who helped me navigate and guide me towards my particular goals. And how did I find this emotional quotient coach? Is that I leverage some of the platforms like coach.me, or if you are aware of someone who is into this professional coaching, like someone's like so into this emotional quotient and emotional intelligence coaches, then I would highly suggest you to try to find those people who resonate with your goals and with your ideology. Now once you identify your gap, as in like your behavioral patterns, your understanding patterns and all that, and you seek mentorship, it is important for you to know your worth. It's just because you do not know something, just because you are doing a job that is not you are happy with, or just because you are unable to learn something that you want to do, it's not something that you are not worth it. It is about identifying what your worth is. Your job, your project, or your task does not define you. You are beyond that, right? So so what I used to do is like, I used to write, as in like, I call this as a self mission statement, as in like, I used to set these boundaries, as in like, what can I do versus what can I not do. And with respect to work, before stopping myself over committing to something that I cannot do, I used to draw these boundaries and write them, and make sure that I do not commit, or saying yes to a work that does not add value to my goals, or help me march towards my goals. That's what I did in identifying my worth, and which particular task or which particular project will actually help me improve my worth. That's what I did. And the once you actually do that, you will have like enormous confidence in you, and that confidence is absolutely needed for it to be shown to the world. It's just not sufficient for you to learn and keep it in books, but rather you need to be putting it out there. So you need to be becoming that self you need to become your own advocate, and start promoting your own brand. So there is like a personal brand influencer that I actually follow. She used to say, there is no magical career fairy that notices your talent and plucks you out of the crowd. And I experienced that firsthand, back in those days wherein like I used to look for promotions, I used to ask for promotion, I used to go to my manager and say that these are all my critical these are all my critical contributions to the project that I have done so far, and what can I do more to get the promotion. You know what the secret is? It's always at the mercy of my manager whether to see the valuable invaluable contributions that I'm making to my project or not. But that really did not get me the promotions or get me the advancements in my career. What really helped me is is promoting my own contributions, because nobody knows your story better than you. So you basically have to promote yourself, talk about the good things that you have done in a particular project, or the new learnings that you have made in a specific project by designing something new or learning new technology, or like even helping another team member create a new solution. That's also, being a absolute team member is a great achievement, and is something that everybody wants. So becoming that self advocate and building that reliable network of people is the most important puzzle of seizing new opportunities as we move along the career. And having that reliable network also helps us in achieving, or sort of not just achieving, in grabbing new opportunities that you are not aware of. Let's say you attended a conference, and in some of the topic that is of a common interest, that's like common interest for a specific CEO, for example, of a specific company in AI. You attended that conference, you met with him, you shared your preferences and and your interests with with that particular CEO. And the more you exchange those interactions, the more meaningful you make those connections, the more meaningful opportunities they are going to present you as you reach out to them. So it is important for us to be able to establish that particular reliable network. And one of the most important way to establishing that particular network is by giving more, as in like, in this particular world, most of the transactions, as in like majority of us are working remotely, and we are not seeing our coworkers every other day. So what we could possibly do is like, we could start interacting with them and understand how we can contribute and help them. And even in a community project that you're following, or a hackathon, just try to make those connections more meaningful by offering what they need and giving them or helping them in their projects. There was one statement that really intrigued, was that you gain the trust of the others only by, not by helping them, but only by seeking their help. So that's the trust that we got to develop in making these connections last longer. So with that, I think we are approaching the end of this conversation, and I will end it with this particular slide wherein we talk about the future and our space in it. As I talk about how this particular AI is influencing the solutions that we are creating, and why the shift is necessary, and how we as women can transition into this particular new space and new technologies, I'll explain more reason. I'll give you a more reason as to like why this is important for you to do it. It's not just about contributing to these particular trends, or making sure that we are all inclusive, and including women should be a part of it. No, it's not just about that. Women's perspectives are actually very, very crucial for shaping the future of the AI. There are Women have a specific empathy, a unique perspective, a diverse opinions in representing technologies, and we need all those insights and leadership of women in this particular space. The reason why I'm saying this with confidence is that, as a woman, as someone who got into this particular space, I expected a lot of resistance from my fellow colleagues, and especially majority of the time it's always the male leadership as I step into that particular room. But each and every time when I bring up a new aspect, when I bring up a new insight, all of them, or majority of the times, people acknowledge that that particular insight is more empathetic and is fair for the practices that we are following. And I believe if I can do it, everyone can do it, and women have a lot more room and has got a lot to offer to the AI space. Now, with that, I conclude this particular discussion, and thank you so much for listening to all these insights and the examples and everything. And I hope this is helpful for all you lovely ladies, and I open this particular space for any questions and that you may have. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me today.
Can I go first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I haven't got any sorry, I think my background is all black. I haven't got any question actually, but then I just wanted to say that your journey is really inspiring, and the things that you shared, and some of the things are actually resonates with me. And yeah, the things that you shared, that making that move sideways, it was another thing. Like I had been developer for a long time, moved to architecture recently, and now AI is coming. So from Azure and integrations kind of a background, I'm thinking about how do I go to that AI thing. So the steps that you said that we need to really follow is really helpful, and everything that you said, you tried writing those things, and you build those mentorship, you seek the coaching and everything. Fantastic. This is what I would probably love to and understand from the people. How do you do it? And this is what you gave us. Thank you for sharing your experience. Lovely. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad it was helpful.
Yeah.
Me too. I think this was awesome what you did, Madhu, and I really appreciate that you talked about very factual, technical, logistical things, very practical, but also you took a step back to give us other takeaways if we're not maybe specifically in the angle of AI, but like I just in general, women in tech, good takeaways. Two things that I really stuck with me that I really loved was about that you're not waiting just for the outside to recognize you. Don't just sit around and wait for people to notice that you're working really hard or trying really hard. But when you're talking about self-advocacy, I feel like one of the interesting things isn't just about being visible in other people's, demonstrating your value proposition to them, but to ourselves. Like you were talking about self-confidence, a lot of it is just believing in yourself. So I personally just wanted to resonate with one piece on that is I've found that it's really important to utilize my performance reviews. And a lot of times you go into those performance reviews and you might assume that you're just supposed to sit there and be quiet and listen to your boss tell you what you did right and what you did wrong, and then walk out and then hope things go well. But I always use them a lot to take out time with myself to take a step back and look at the victories, look at the achievements, and even like write it down, because sometimes we're all women and men, but I think that sometimes socially we're put in a position where it's maybe less easy for us to celebrate our victories and to focus on our achievements. But be able to, like, this year, for example, I'm just preparing my perf review and saying, what are the actual results that came out of my activities this year and changes? Okay, this skill is achieved, or these results, if you can measure them, great, but not necessarily. And it's not just to deliver that the day in front of your boss and be like, look at all the things I did, but even yourself to take a look and be like, I did that. I did all that. I'm capable. Because when we believe we're capable, but also we're in the groove, it makes us even more reminded of our capacity as we move forward. Capacity, like you, to make a shift in our focus professionally, or go into new areas, or ask for that promotion, or maybe change some other part of us professionally. I was just saying, I really love that you mentioned that. And I think that it's important that we work on our perception, take the time to look at what we've done, and appreciate yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because
yeah, I do struggle with that. What do they call it? It's not a right word. Self bragging. I see the men doing it, and we just hesitate to do it, isn't it? We say, okay, what's great about it, and we just keep on doing the things. No, it's not. It's wrong, because nobody actually sees your value unless you talk about it. Yeah, that's
I just
right.
don't like the word bragging. It is about laying out the facts out there, and that's what it is about. It's not just about self-praising or bragging. It is about putting your critical contributions out there for everyone to see, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to change my vocabulary. Yes, that's right.
No, but actually it's really revelatory that you would use that word, because that means that's the vision you have of when someone is doing that. So then you're going to continue to be like, well, that's not really appropriate, or that's not, but that's not what's happening. And you can be
That's right.
completely humble and be
Yeah.
celebrating victories at the same time.
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely.
Didn't Kamala Harris say recently, like, you know, some of us women aren't particularly interested in being humble? I quite like that. I'm definitely not interested in being humble.
Sometimes we're told that's the right thing to be, right? So it's
Yeah.
it's not simple.
It comes, yeah, I think it comes from a long tradition of that being seen as a virtue, and well, a virtue in general, but a virtue in women particularly. So yeah, it's a good thing to reflect on. Thank you, Madhu. I really enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you. I'm glad to send out this links that I talked about, especially the Google Women Tech Makers and all those online courses. So I'll share it with Dana so that she could share it with everyone.
Thanks.
Yeah, please do. I'll share it with the rest of the community.
Sure.
Thank you.
Is there
Thank
any
you.
other questions, or does anyone want to add anything else?
I just wanted
Okay,
to
I
add
think.
that, sorry,
Yeah, sorry, go.
very
Go
last
ahead,
minute
Lizzie.
thought. I just wanted to add that it was really exciting just hearing you talking about AI, and just made me think about what an opportunity we have as business architects to really help our businesses get insight into how best to use it. You know, we've been thinking at my organization about what are the use cases that are really going to add value for us. We don't want to just be scattergun applying it, you know, wherever we can. And, you know, it's just such a great opportunity for business architecture to really help hone into, you know, what are the strategic applications we want to make, and how do we want to test it. And yeah, so I just think it is a really great, we should really, as business architects, we really need to be thinking about AI, because it's, you know, such a great opportunity to showcase what we can do as well. Just a thought there rather than a question. Thank you.
Well, if no one else has anything to add, then I think we can leave it here. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in December.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, bye,
Take
bye,
care.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.